Hey, what's up, everybody? How you doing? This is your Coach Renz. Um, Today we are going to take a little bit of time to talk about the fact that we are in this time frame of COVID and all this kind of stuff. Um, Grab my laptop from back here. If you've been watching me, you know that I'm always looking for. There's always a silver lining in everything. There's always something we can learn. As my children will always say, and I'm gonna give people some time to get on here. Um, I'm always looking for life lessons out of everything. Right? There's always a life lesson that you can learn from every situation that you go through. And today we're going to look at an esoteric look at the whole COVID-19, a silver lining, and how that actually can apply to our lives. Um, so, give people a little bit of time, about 2 minutes, to see people getting on. What's up, CD? How you doing? We're both on Facebook. Facebook is over here, and YouTube is over there. So if I'm looking back and forth, that's what I'm looking at. Uh, but yeah, we're going to take a good little look see here. I'm doing one sharing that I need to do real quick, fast, in a hurry, if I can make it happen. So how's everybody been doing? As some of you guys have noticed, I've still been going out doing house tours. So on my Home for Sale Atlanta YouTube page, been running out doing some house touring. Didn't do any today, but I did download 2 videos. One is still downloading right now. Still working on Uncle Renz popcorn. I'm gonna have to shut that down until I get my mailing from home situation set up. Now, don't worry about it. You got some clown and stuff. It's all right. But what we're going to do in this discussion, we do want to look at the silver lining. The silver lining, and I don't know why I'm struggling to get this one tag on feed up to share, and then we're really going to get started here. I'm talking about this. Like, what's a silver lining? Okay, we know growing up, your silver lining has always been that thing that your your family, your friend, your mom and dad, or your parents, your family, your coach, your teacher, whomever would always say something to the effect of, find the good in something. What's the good in a situation? And interestingly enough, I knew that this was going to happen, but I just wasn't saying anything about it. About the fact that it was going to, but I knew that there was going to be something out of this whole situation that is a benefit and something that we can learn from. So what could that possibly be? What could we possibly learn from all of this COVID-19 things? And if I don't mention something, I want you guys to definitely mention it. All right. So let's discuss it. Let's talk about it for just a minute here. With this whole situation of COVID-19, we know that people have become sick, and it's touched people that I know, people that my wife knows. It's not something that, I met a young lady who's telling me about her family down in Albany who have been struck by this. So it's not a light thing. People have been losing their job. People have been laid off. People having to work from home. There's all kind of other things, people, teleworking, schools have been out. So many things like that have happened. But this quarantine has people in a situation where they are not at work. They're not at work. And it also has created an environment where we're not driving as much, we're not going as many places and things of that nature. Now, if it was just one country, it'd be one thing, but this is happening all over the world, where there's been a huge decrease in activity of humans. And it's two things about that. First, let me quote the movie The Matrix, when Smith said, "Mr. Anderson, there's something I've realized about humans," and that he tried to classify humans. And in his classification of humans, he said that he sees that humans devour areas and are irresponsible towards their resources. And the only way Mr. Smith categorized humans was as a virus, right? If you guys remember the first Matrix, he classified us as viruses because of how we treat the earth and how we consume all the resources and things of that nature. But in this time of being quarantined, what we see is that we are not using as much fossil fuel. We're not doing as many of these things. The last time that this happened was during 9/11. I don't know if many of you guys remember, but during 9/11, there was a study that came out and said during that time frame that air traffic was shut down, that the air quality in America increased, got better by 10%. By 10%, the air quality got better in America during 9/11. During that was like a week or two that no flights were going. Now, during this whole quarantine, there's been less flights. Not far from, we're not far from where I live, about 25 minutes down the street. It's one of the main thoroughfares for for Hartsfield Jackson Airport, for the landing strip. And I've noticed anytime I've gone down that way that there are less planes, there are less cars, all these things. There's less. Now we can identify that by our own sight, but what we've seen is satellite imagery in China. We're going to use China first since it was the first one to really go down into quarantine. But air quality in China has gotten significantly better during these 2 months of quarantine. That all over the world, especially places like northern Italy, where quarantine is really heavy, they have noticed a 46% reduction in nitrogen in the air in northern Italy. There's been a reduction in nitrogen in the air around the world. In China, those harmful particles from the coal industry and from the cars and things like that have decreased to the point where at the University of Stanford, one of the professors, Burke, talked about the smog level and particle levels, dangerous particle levels, and the ease of breathing has become so much better that he estimates that over these last 2 months, over the 2 months, the first 2 months of quarantine in China, that here are the numbers now, 4,000 children under the age of 5 who usually would have died because of respiratory issues in China are alive today. 4,000 children under 5 who usually in China die of respiratory issues are still alive. That's their estimation based on the quality of air and the number of children who aren't, compared to previous months, who are not going to the hospital, who are not having respiratory issues. They estimate out of Stanford University that 73,000 of people in China over the age of 70 who usually would have died in this time frame due to respiratory illness have not died, simply because the harmful particles in the air in China has decreased to that level. Now, that's their estimate. That's what they're saying. That's based on what usually goes on. And I know I'm not taking away from the dangers, the problems with this novel virus, not taking away anything from that, not taking away anything from the people who have suffered losses because of that. But we do have to be conscious of the fact of look at the losses, look at the gains of life from people just being able to breathe better. Look, if you're on my Facebook or YouTube or any of those pages right now, and you're listening to this, and you are over the age of 40, I'm 48. If you're over the age of 40 or close enough to the age of 40, I want you to think about something. When I was growing up, I knew 2 people who had asthma. Just 2. 2 people. That's it. Just 2 people who had breathing issues, who were on the little not the nebulizer, but had breathing. The only people I knew on nebulizer were people who had suffered from lung cancer from smoking and that sort of thing. But very few people were that I knew when I went to school who had asthma. But look at it now. Look at these kids nowadays. Look at people nowadays. Asthma, breathing related illnesses are plentiful. When we were in school, very few people had sinus allergies and sinus problems. But look at it now. People have all kind of just respiratory issues. I myself, twice a year deal with respiratory issues when the pollen comes out in the spring and the little, I think here the dogwoods or wherever do they thing in the fall. But that's the only time. I didn't have these problems growing up. Didn't have them. But the air quality has gotten so bad. But in China, they've seen that this nitrogen decrease. Right on YouTube, what CD said that he didn't know asthma pumps made. Yo, he didn't know it made that noise. Yep, that's what it do. But so many of these people have allergy problems now that we didn't have back then. But look at just these 2 months of being quarantined. We've seen nitrogen levels go down. We've seen pollutants go down. We've seen all these things get better. Here's an amazing thing that I know that I saw. As I was reading up on this because I knew it was going to happen. I was looking for what people have been studying and what people have seen. So in Venice, if you've ever been to Venice, I was in Venice in 1991 and 92 is when I was in Venice. And then I went back again in 96. I was in Venice. The water, the canals, yeah, the gondolas, and it's so romantic and all of that stuff. It's so great. Yes, it is, senora. It's great. But the water looks nasty. The water was disgusting, right? You couldn't see, if you put your hand in the water, you wouldn't be able to see your fingertips, is how like dirty the water was. But they're saying now in Venice, because the decrease in boat movements and boat travel, that the water in Venice has become clearer and clear enough that they now see fish swimming in the water, which they haven't seen fish swimming in the canals of Venice in over 60 years. Simply because for the last 2+ months, boats haven't been going up and down, moving around. The air particles not as harmful, not as much fossil fuels going on. The earth is showing you how it heals itself so quickly from what Mr. Smith called the virus of humanity. Now, I'm not going to say that we are a virus in that sense, but we are very damaging to ourselves and to our environment. And that's the esoteric part of it. The earth is fasting. The earth is on a fast right now. It's on a fast from our overuse of fossil fuels. It's on a fast from our use of coal. It's on a fast from driving. It's on a fast from plants in full operation. It's on a fast from water movement. The whole earth is on a huge fast. And as the earth fasts from it, look at how much better, look at the condition the earth is getting into. What can you say concerning your own self, right? As far as, and I'm not saying that, I'm not promoting any kind of religious fast, let me be clear. But what I am saying is, how much processed food do we eat? Imagine what your body would do, how it would heal itself if you start pushing back and minimizing the processed food. Let me see. David said, valid point. Therefore, I must say, on behalf of this virus situation, God bless, and we will get through this struggle. It won't show me what the more is on yours for some reason. I can't see the rest of the comment. Odd. But, yeah, I mean, we're going to get through this situation. And I was telling my wife earlier today that lives will change. We will do some things differently, right? We will do a lot of things differently now. Actually, CD asked me who would I think Mr. Smith represented in the movie The Matrix. Actually, I think I did a video a couple years ago. Mr. Smith represents the one. Neo is not the one. Mr. Smith is the one. And that's a whole nother conversation because he was the one who was able to remake the Matrix as he fit. So as he chose. Neo wasn't able to do that. So Mr. Smith is the one. Mr. Smith is freedom. Mr. Smith is freedom. But let's get back. So, because y'all know I can digress and we be in a whole nother situation, a whole nother subject. But here's the thing. We can, if we were to, see my wife coming in the background. If we were to take the time, and I'm not saying that we are going to do something as drastic as quarantining everybody, getting out of fossil fuels and that sort of thing, but we need to do two major things. One, we need to look at our own personal lives and within our personal lives say, okay, what am I doing that's not really conducive to my body being able to heal itself? If you saw my video yesterday, I talked about the fact that in order to fight this coronavirus naturally, we need to eat more. We need to alkaline our body. Now, in order to alkaline our bodies, you're going to cut out your meat, right? And if the world cut its meat consumption down, then we're not going to raise and grow as much cattle and chickens and things of that, which will drop the methane levels on the planet drastically. It will take time, of course, but with the methane level dropping, then all this discussion of global warming this and global warming that will kind of nullify itself. It'll drop drastically, but not having as much cattle just for the consumption of food for us will drop the methane level and on the planet. If we are all more alkaline, then the spread of any virus, because viruses can't live in an alkaline state. If we were to decrease our mucus by eliminating as much dairy out of our system, then there again, we won't have as many dairy cows. We won't produce as much dairy. The methane level again will drop. We won't have as much mucus in our system. We won't be going to the hospital as much because we won't be more as susceptible to viruses. And then that will decrease the amount of expenditure that goes into those programs. And therefore, people who truly just need medical services can get it without everybody going there because we are sick because of the way we eat. But by us doing that, we're also going to help benefit the air quality around us. In this situation, hopefully more people, more companies will say teleworking. That's a great way. We see that how it can function. I know some people who are teleworking, they're probably working more hours now at home than they did at work. And if more people are teleworking, then that's less road travel. That's less people going here and there. More people are ordering their groceries to be delivered instead of getting out and going to the grocery store. So simple things like that, if we make this a way of life where we're doing more teleworking and we're ordering our food to be delivered from the grocery stores and more deliveries, then that's less driving each individual family is doing, which will drop the level of fossil fuel usage, which the price will go down. If you notice, gas prices are down drastically. But that'll drop that, which there again, we will see the negative particles in the air, the carcinogenic particles in the air will decrease, which will decrease the amount of people. I mean, think about that. In China, 4,000, they estimate 4,000 children under the age of 5 who usually would be dead because of respiratory issues are now alive, is what they estimate. And 73,000 people over the age of 70. Simply because the air quality got better. And subtle changes like this, where we are teleworking from home and we are ordering our food to be delivered, those sorts of things will affect that. It will affect that, right? It is, right. It's basic cause and effect, as who's that said that? Giving fact, not fishing, because you know the hermetics is the big deal for me. Cause and effect. Everything is cause and effect. We understand the power of cause and effect. We can do things. So now think about this. There are more people who are in a healthier breathing state today than they were 6 months ago. If there are more people breathing healthy, if we took that, if the news media talked about that more so than they're talking about a bunch of negative things, and we took that mindset into our polling office and said that, hey, yeah, we want better quality protection and we want, better quality work environments and we want all these other things. But guess what? We want better air quality. You know that whole thing about breathing that we need? We need more of that. Can we get some breathing? Some cleaner air to breathe? Can we have some? If we took that and made our politicians really say, you know what, we got to look at alternative fuel sources for real now. Not just as a campaign slogan, but we actually have to do it. If the next car you buy is an electric car or hybrid, then we're doing something to make the air quality better. I'm not saying it's going to happen overnight, but we can allow this situation to be our linchpin, to be that camel that straw that broke the camel's back, that thing that moves us forward, that makes our lives different, simply by doing small things. If most people, because everybody ain't gonna do it, if most people do small things, and let me tell you how the law of central diffusion works. You know what? I can draw this for you. And it's called the law of central diffusion, usually used in business, but you can use this in this format as well. All we need is a small number of people to get something started, and then the larger portion of people will follow suit. It happens all the time, right? This is just how it works. All right. So can you guys see this? Law of central diffusion. Very simple. If you want to change the world, it is not by getting everybody to do it. Everybody's never going to do it at the same time, right? So what you have is you have your first 1 to 3% of people who will make that change. They're the first ones. They're your innovators. These are the people that went out and spent a bunch of money on the first electric cars that was pieces of crap, right? These are the first ones. You get that first one, but those first ones are not going to make a huge difference. What you have next, right, is you have this 6 to 13% of the people. These are your gotta be first people. These are the ones who did run out and buy a Tesla as soon as it came out. These are the ones who are, who will get into putting solar panels on their houses. These are those people, right? So we get there. The big deal with companies is jumping over this 15% mark. At the 15% mark, that's the tipping point. When you get 15% of the people doing something, that's when there's 34 to 36%. You have this 34 to 36%, which is called the early majority. When you tip over 15% of the people doing something, this next early majority, 36 to 34% of the people after these, all these add up, so it's like over 50%, up to 50%. All these people jump in, then you have it where it becomes the norm. It becomes the norm. And then this 34 to 36% of the people, this next one, the late majority, they jump in because it's like they feel like it's safe, and that's just the way things are. So if the early majority start buying all the electric cars and not using fossil fuels, the late majority jumps in after like 5-6 years later, after the early majority have already done it. And then you have this last 16%. These are the people who are not going to buy an electric car until you just have no choice. Like, there are no more. These are the people who have, they still have a landline in their house and they don't have a cell phone. But until landlines go away, they ain't getting a cell phone. So what I'm saying is that I know oftentimes we'll say, oh, well, we need everybody. We need everybody. Remember, in America, the American Revolution was started by a few people. It wasn't started by everybody. The majority of people didn't even want it. So, but it just took that tipping point. Once that tipping point happened, everybody jumped in. A lot more people jumped in. So we just have to do a tipping point. We just have to get it where it's a trending kind of thing. And to use today's verb, is trending. So if we start trending to eat less meat, and we hit that 15% tipping point, you will see, the price of those things will go down. Those people, the number of cattle and stuff raised will go down. Methane level drop. We get that 15% of buying electric cars. All of a sudden, everything drops. The price of these things drop. The number of people, the number of electric cars produced increases. Availability increases, and now it becomes a normal thing. And in the next 20 years, we can have it where, because really nowadays it doesn't take 40 to 60 years to change the world. We can change the world within 10, 15, 20 years. 20 years is a long time nowadays. 20 years is a very long time now for a movement. You can have a movement really get started and change, and in 5 years, the whole concept, the group think has changed, right? And once the group think change, then it just rolls after that, and you'll see opportunities grow. Yeah, some people are going to lose their jobs. If you're working in the fossil fuel industry, if you're a farmer, a rancher, I should say, you're going to have to suffer. But you know what? There's the law of change. The law of vibration and the law of polarity really is the thing and the law of rhythm creates the law of change, meaning that everything vibrates, everything moves, nothing is standing still or stagnant. Everything is on a pole and it swings right to the left. But that creates change, and change is always happening. So there used to be where you picked up the phone and an operator picked up, and then they patched you into, hey, operator, let me speak to Mary Sue Johnson on 15th Street, and they connect you. That job doesn't exist. There used to be typing pools. That job doesn't exist anymore. A lot of these jobs like that don't exist. So, if the cattle ranchers go away, like we have a food delivery right now. Yeah, they delivered the wrong food first, so now they're bringing the right food. So if look, this ain't like normal when I have like total privacy when I'm doing these things. We all in the house, so hey, it is what it is. But we all these things have changed now, and we have to be able to adapt with them as these changes happen, right? So here's the thing, people, because we're gonna have dinner in a little bit, and I was told that once she come downstairs, I have to get ready to cut this down, right? Yeah, I mean it was perfect timing that our food delivery, which is our groceries from Publix, just got delivered right now. And if you think about it, this is one person who's out driving, delivering food for multiple families instead of all these multiple families being out driving. These are changes that's going to happen in the world now. People are going to get used to this. All right. So what you have to think about is what's the next change and how it's going to affect you and what changes can you adapt in your life to make it different. Yeah. Again, before I go, COVID-19, silver lining. I know that there are people who are suffering through it. I don't know why my wife is talking all loud back there.
Which means these people.
I don't know why my wife talking loud. But
I'm sorry.
COVID-19 has affected a lot of people. And, hey, my meditation, my energy goes out to those people. Get it in your mind that you are a healthy person. Get it in your mind that you're a healthy person, and you'll be amazed at the placebo effect of your mental thought. But a silver lining to all of this is the fact that air quality has dropped, has gotten so much better in these last couple of months worldwide. 46% nitrogen levels dropped. The smog level in China dropped drastically. I really want to see what they come out with the smog levels in cities like New York and California and how that's been affected. In these areas where there are lots of coal factories and manufacturing going on, the air quality has gotten so much better. And Stanford University professor Burke is saying that 4,000 children in China are alive today because they are not dying of respiratory issues, just breathing, respiratory. Right, this is asthmas and other upper respiratory infections and things of that nature. I had an upper respiratory infection about a month ago. All right, but it's gone. And then 73,000 people over the age of 70 are now alive that they estimate in China simply because they can breathe better. And the water is clear enough for fish to swim in the canals of Venice. And that's like I'm telling you guys, that's such an amazing thing. For those who don't get the full concept of that, let's look at the Avengers Infinity War Endgame. One of the things that they said in that movie that Captain America said he saw whales swimming in the Hudson River, and they was like, yeah, because there's less ship movement, so the water is clearer. It's a fictitious movie, but it's a real thing that happens. The least amount of human movement and traffic and use of fossil fuels and pollutants in the air, the better the earth heals, and the earth will heal fast. Your bodies can heal the same way, and so can your mind. I know we're sitting at home. We've been binging some shows, but let's binge mentally things that's going to better us spiritually, better us mentally. My wife remarked last night about how long it's been since she read a book. How many of you have not read a book in a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years? Let's read books that betters our mind, that gets us into a better situation. Let's exercise. I know you can't go to the gym, but you got a living room and you got YouTube. There's plenty of things you can do by just going on YouTube and doing push-ups and dips and all these kind of things, jumping jacks. There's tons of things you can better your life now. Take this opportunity because the world is healing, the earth is healing. You need to heal as well. And the better you heal yourself, the better things will be. Go back and watch my video I did 2 days ago, I think, where I talked about different ways you can fight this naturally with food, with decreasing the mucus in your system, meditation, all these kinds of things. Get yourself right, get it together. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you're catching it late, go back and watch it and start at the beginning. But we can take this, make this part of who we are. We can also make this part of how we live on a permanent basis. Look, it says that it takes 21 days to make a habit. We've been quarantined for, I don't know if it's been 21 days yet, but we've been quarantined for a while at this level. So this is a great time for you to make new habits of how you live. Companies make new habits of how they function. So if we make new habits of studying and reading and of investing in our minds, eating better, investing into our bodies, exercising, investing into our bodies, the silver lining is that our bodies will heal faster. Eating more vegetables, eating more dark colored fruits, our bodies will heal faster. Allowing ourselves, look, I'm not going to the grocery store even after this is over that much. This ordering thing is the bomb, okay? So we're gonna be ordering, decreasing our carbon monoxide or carbon monoxide footprint on the planet. If we all ordered our food instead of driving to pick it up, we would decrease our carbon monoxide imprint. If your job allows you to continue to work from home, keep doing it. We'll decrease that footprint. And the more we decrease that footprint, the air quality gets better. Less children with asthma and all these other respiratory issues. Less old people who got to get on nebulizers and have respiratory issues. And if we're doing that, then not only is the earth healing, we're healing. And when you buy another car, get one of them electric cars. And when you get your house, put some solar panels on it. Let's decrease our poison footprint on the planet and within ourselves. So before I go, let me see a couple of questions here. They really do put science in some of those movies, especially the Marvel ones. Yes, science it is there. You know, it's not all just some made up stuff. There's truth in everything. In every lie there is truth, and in every truth there is a lie. You know, nothing is one side or the other. Right? It's all on the pole. So we have to understand. But when they put it there, they put it there to teach it so we can grasp a lesson through another means. Just like how with small children they can learn through song because they're learning through the vibration and the rhythm. But we learn by watching as well. Air quality is bad because no garden for food or aesthetics. No one is planting trees anymore, but are in a hurry to cut them down. Yes, we are. We're cutting down our forests. People be required to replace any tree they cut down. There are some states and country where if you chop down a tree, you have to replace that tree, or you chop down one, you replace it with five. We do need to think in that pattern. As I was going around and shooting videos for home tours, me and my, because Reed Real Estate Firm, you looking to buy a house in the Georgia, contact me, so I can represent you properly. But we went into one neighborhood to shoot one of the houses that's on Homes for Sale Atlanta on my YouTube page. One of the things that we noticed is that there were no trees in the neighborhood. They chopped down every tree in this new construction, and they have a tendency to do that. And so there's a way to build homes without chopping down all the trees. And we need to stop poisoning our ocean because phytoplankton is what gives us 60% of our oxygen. So we need to take care of the ocean. Now, I'm not perfect, I'm never going to be perfect, but be as vegetarian as you possibly can, drink as much water as you possibly can, get your body alkaline, cut down the meat so that you can alkaline your body, cut down the mucus in your system. Just by us doing more of that, the methane levels on the planet will drop drastically. The air quality gets better. The global warming situation gets a lot better. All these things get better. And decreasing our driving tremendously helps the planet, and it helps us. Because I got a little joke in my house. Asthma. Can't even go outside and play basketball. Asthma and pollen right now. And I don't know. And that's another one. When I was growing up, I don't remember these pollen levels being this high. I don't remember seeing the streets running, dripping gold of pollen all over the place and it flowing all through the air. So we got to do better. That is both smart and logical. The MS, my mom is taxed and having trees in her yard. Okay, sure. Kind of threw me off, not really getting that part, but we get ready to go. My wife is Mississippi. My mama. Got it. One life said, "Do I believe in evolution or God?" I believe in God, but not in the sense that everybody else does. I believe in a intelligent designer, that their universe is designed by an intelligent, infinite mind. I don't believe in evolution because there's just not enough evidence to show evolution. Adaptation, sure. Evolution, not so much. But chaos and Big Bang, not so much either. But I don't conform to any particular religious doctrine. But I see that, hey, there's an intelligent designer, and we all just need to understand that first there's comes love, and then there's come respecting everyone as you would have them to respect you. You know, we do that, and we just have a great planet. You know, 30 plus years, if tax, like, they want to destroy the place. I'm not understanding that, but it's okay. It's all right. I'll figure it out later. So, guys, look, let's do better. There's the old saying, if when we know better, we do better. But we know that that's not true. We don't always do better because we know better. We know now that we can take better care of the earth, and the earth will heal itself very quickly. We know that we can save lives just by, allowing people to breathe freely. So let's just do better for ourselves. Let's be selfish about it. You want to live, so let's drive less. You want to live, let's eat less meat. So let's do that, and we can all have a great life. All right. Evolution in knowledge is the only evolution. I like that. I do like that. Evolution in knowledge is the only evolution. True to that. I was having a great meditation with myself the other day about learning more, developing more, and being able to utilize that in wisdom and gaining more control over my mental state and my emotional state in order to see things truly how they are and not be captivated by the conditions of this poverty of the flesh and the cultural conditionings that we've all been trained in. So I'm going to end it there because we can keep talking. And my wife is standing right here looking at me kind of funny. So, hey, I'm going to blame her. Going to blame her for that one. But I appreciate you guys. Look, we're going to be doing a lot more lives. See, just being home allows me to do a lot more lives because y'all know I haven't been doing lives for like months. So we're going to do a lot more lives and have a lot more discussion. So I appreciate you guys. Remember, you got to free yourself to be yourself because your greatness is non-negotiable. And right now, Uncle Renz Popcorn is shut down until I can figure out how to ship things without going to the post office. Get everything here so I can ship it. But Reed Real Estate Firm is alive and well. So if you're looking to purchase a home now, and I will do some, you're cool with the typos, ain't no worries. I am going to do some lives about real estate and right now because this is a great time to buy a house right now. The mortgage rates are great. All right. So we'll talk about that in my next live. We'll talk about the real estate market and thing and what you need to do to get into your home and make it your home sweet home. So y'all have a great day. Free yourself to be yourself because your greatness is non-negotiable. Later. And we're turning all these off. Boom, hand right in the